Welcome to my home lab. Back when I first laid eyes on the listing for this house nearly 4 years ago, I had the perfect vision for what this room was to become. Not a home lab, but a home data center. It's just enough space for the full-size rack or two of my dreams. Today marks the start of the journey to make that happen. It is probably going to take actual years, but we're gonna get there and we're gonna have so much fun doing it. And for the first time, pretty much in my entire life, I'm gonna have my own space to do the fun, silly, stupid server bullshit I've always wanted to do. And you guys, assuming you're subscribed, are coming along for the journey, including the first stage of my plans. My first actual redundant router setup after I find the new routers, and I guess I just have to clean all this up. Today is all about unprocrastinating, except I am procrastinating actually dealing with a lot of the stuff and just putting it in the garage. But that's later Jake's problem, and that guy. But you know, it could also be later Jake's problem if I happen to show one of the shipping labels on one of these boxes and my personal information gets out there, which would suck, but that's not the only way your data can get out there. It's probably already out there and you might not even know it. And that's what today's sponsor, Incogni, can help with. Incogni works by tracking and removing your personally identifiable information from the internet by going after the data brokers and people search sites that could be selling your information without you even knowing. Just think about how many times you've entered your phone number, your name, your address, whatever it is, when you're purchasing something online. That data isn't always handled as well as it should be. Fortunately, getting set up on Incogni is super easy, and within a few days, I had basically no more spam calls, no more scam calls. Plus, with their unlimited plan, if you find your data on a site that they don't already cover, you can just copy paste the URL into Incogni and they take care of the rest. Just think of the peace of mind you'd get knowing how much harder it is for a scammer just to even find you or your family members if that data wasn't on the internet. So take your personal data back by using code JAKU for 60% off. That's right, 60% off an Incogni annual plan at the link down in the description or at incogni.com/JAKU. Thanks to them for supporting the channel. Look at all the styrofoam. Holy crap on a cracker. Yo! Ah! Enterprise Fortress Gateway, baby. This, or rather these, because there's two of them, are my new routers. And this is going to solve a bunch of my problems. See, this is my current router. It's not a bad machine. In fact, it's actually kind of overkill. This is a 5900X, a 12-core CPU. It's got dual 10 gigabit ports on the back. The problem is, even with this 1U proper server heatsink thing, it still overheats. This was not made for high power chips, and I even have it in eco mode. And to add insult to injury, Ryzen 5000, as some of you may know, doesn't have integrated graphics. And since I don't have a fancy server motherboard that has IPMI or remote management built in, when I have problems like overheating or I want to do a BIOS update or anything like that, I have to take like half the machine apart so I can temporarily slot a GPU in there and actually be able to get some video output out of this machine. So while it is overkill, I'm also over it. And it's time for something, to be frank, easier. And I know that this is a problem of my own creation, but I'm fixing it, man. We're fixing it. It's kind of looking like a room again in here. Would you look at that? Wow, it is an absolute echo chamber in here. But don't worry, because sound treatment is definitely one of the things on my list. Because if I want to be able to, I don't know, review the craziest new AMD CPU with 256 cores or whatever it is, I also want to be able to sleep at night. Here is my rack. To be clear, after peeling away all the yuck, it's not that bad. She's got a heart of gold in there, boys. We've got down at the bottom my Storinator Q30. That's a 30 bay NAS chassis. On top of that, I've got Ubiquiti's new 2U UPS, which is currently UPSing nothing. And then a really ballin' network switch. I'm not gonna lie, this network switch is crazy. This is their Campus 24 PoE. It is shockingly expensive. Oh. However, it is one switch to do everything I need. It's got high power 10 gigabit PoE+++. It's got 2.5 gig PoE+++, and it even has a pair of 25 gig ports. At some point, that could be a 50 gig link to an NVMe NAS. Get subscribed so you don't miss when I finally build one of those. This is Ubiquiti's Cloud Gateway Fiber. A fantastic little gateway that has 10 gigabit in and out, a 2.5 gig switch in it, PoE output on one of the ports, and can route at 10 gigabit without issue. And it's in there because this is now the second day. Before I even started the video yesterday, I ripped out my old router and then I realized, oh my God, I am not finishing this in one day and I need internet. But now we get into the real stuff. Oh my God. Can I pick it up with one hand? Oh, shit. Huh. This is Ubiquiti's Enterprise Fortress Gateway. An 18-core absolute monster of a router. It can do 25 gigabit as per the 225 gig SFP28 ports. It's also rocking dual 10 gigabit SFP plus ports and dual 2.5 gig RJ45. It's so overkill for my setup right now, it's not even funny. However, there have been rumors floating around that my ISP is soon to have 10 gigabit plans, which is quite exciting, I might say. The sales reps on the phone seemingly have no idea how to convert somebody from a personal to a business internet plan, and we need a business internet plan so that we can have static IP addresses and actually host stuff from our currently tiny, soon-to-be data center. It's also one of few routers in Ubiquiti's lineup to come with redundant hot swap power supplies. It's only 150 watt power supply. This is a very power efficient thing. It'll probably draw less power than my old router. And this is more important than just being protected if a power supply dies, because if this is gonna be a real tiny data center, we've gotta have redundant power, like real redundant power. At least a generator, definitely a huge UPS. I feel like I should probably clarify that calling this thing a data center in my house is not something I put lightly. It's not just going to be a place for me to mess around, as much as it definitely will be. It's not something I pretty much ever talked about publicly, but something I've been doing on the side, I think since I was 13, was web hosting. And please, you don't need to go looking for it. We're not looking for customers. I wholeheartedly do not have time for more of that. But because of that business, I have to rent servers in an actual data center, and it's one of those things where it costs thousands of dollars a month potentially, and I'm kind of looking at it like, why am I doing this? I could easily put this stuff in my house once I built up the infrastructure, and then boom, no monthly cost. With modern processors, I could probably take every single one of my web hosting customers and put them on one box. That wouldn't be good for availability reasons, but that's the kind of scale we're talking about here. That still leaves us with a ton of other space to play with. Space that I think could be used for something cool, potentially to be used by nonprofits or open source projects to have a little bit of rack or compute space. Now, obviously, this isn't gonna be a monumental amount of space that we could donate to cool projects, but I still want to be able to do something. So please, if there's an open source or nonprofit organization that could benefit from having access to some hardware, some rack space, please leave a comment down below. You must be patient. This is going to take a really long time. Maybe it turns into a system where like people on the Patreon can sponsor a project to have space. I don't know. Maybe this just ends up being my little screw around hole, but I think it needs a name. Okay, tinydc.com is taken, but tinydatacenter.com is available. I'm buying it. I'm buying it. For now, there we go. Look, we've got the uptime of our WAN IP address. That's it. Oh man, we can make tiny data center merch. It would be so cute. Oh, it's upside down. Shit. Wait. Oh, shit. I can't install this because my router that's running my internet is in the way. It's kind of crazy to me that you can set up a router of this caliber on an app on your phone. It's right there. Enterprise Fortress Gateway. Set up. I wish my ISP would let me buy faster internet. Haha, that is actually already available. Look at that. What am I how am I supposed to get that? Like, nope, stuck. I don't know if I have another one of these things. Oh wait, there's another one literally right here. Yes, success. Sick, we're in the big old thick gateway. Now let's just try and restore it maybe, which is kind of hilarious because I'm going from like a $200 router to like a multi-$1,000 one. And if you're interested in either of them or anything in between in the lineup, I'll have links to both of them down in the description where you can check them out. Internet one. Oh, it just magically picked the right port, I guess. So in theory at this point, I can just yoink my Cloud Gateway Fiber's LAN side out and stick it in the EFG and everything will just work. I mean, we're getting blinky lights. I see them blinking. Look at that, they're all alive. All my access points. Woohoo! Now I just have to do like most of that process all over again on the second one, and then we can configure our high availability. Woo! That's exciting. Okay. Oh Lord, is she coming? I'm not gonna lie, that does look pretty baller. Oh, hey, look at that. New shadow gateway detected. Click to set up. That is only the passive backup mode, where it basically just keeps the second EFG in sync with the first one. If you want automatic failover, you need to have a way to split your incoming internet connection so that it can connect directly to both of the gateways, so that in the event that one of them fails, the other one has internet access. Now, in a business or a data center environment, a lot of the time you can ask your ISP to give you multiple ports on their equipment. That way you don't have to worry about having your own switch. But if you don't have that option, you need a network switch to do that work for you. Ubiquiti does have a specific product for this called the WAN switch that has a couple of other nice little features that work along with this whole idea. For now, I'm going to be using one of their Pro XG8 switches. That way we can use a standard Ethernet cable to go from my ISP's fiber box into the 8-port switch, and then uses 2 SFP ports to downlink to our 2 Enterprise Fortress gateways. Switching to automatic failover requires that the cable is adjusted on both gateways. Okay, connect port 2 on the primary gateway to port 2 on the shadow gateway. Setting up high availability cluster, look at that! I've actually never played with this before. I'm very interested to see how this works. It turns out unplugging cables that it specifically tells you to not unplug during the setup does in fact cause problems. So I ended up having to remove our shadow gateway, factory reset it. I've run through the process again and actually listened to the instructions. And now if I hit finish, it says it's ready to take over. So I'm gonna open up the terminal here and start a ping command so that we can see if we lose any packets. And then I'm just gonna yoink the power right out of the back of our primary gateway, and we'll see how many packets we lose. Yoink, unplug, run, 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 run. Oh, there it is. Failover activating. Holy brother, that took 7 pings with no internet, and then it was back. So that's 7 seconds of downtime. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. To be clear, there are solutions like this on basically every enterprise router you can possibly imagine. You can even do it on OpenSense and pfSense, which are open source solutions you can just run on random hardware you have laying around your house. Very cool stuff. In fact, OpenSense is what was powering my horrible DIY router. So this isn't the only way to do it. It's just, oh my God, was that easier to set up than any other time I have ever tried to play with this. But what makes this even cooler is that you don't need to buy a multi-$1,000 router gateway to do this. You can do shadow mode automatic failover on even their most basic dream machine, as long as you have 2 matched systems. They can't be different ones, they have to be the same model, and have a redundant router setup for like less than $1,000, which is pretty freaking cool. The other thing I need to address is this giant point of failure right here. I only have 1 core network switch, so if that has any issues or needs to be updated or goes down or whatever, my entire network still goes down. And that, in this new ethos, is not good enough. The only switch that Ubiquiti offers that would give me the functionality to get around that, their Enterprise Campus Aggregation, I think it's called, has 48 ports of 25 gig and 600 gig ports. It is obscenely expensive. I mean, not for what it is, but still expensive, and I would need 2 of them. So how I'm gonna get around that remains to be seen. But this is also just a network switch. Just having this high availability on the gateways already makes me feel way better, because I update that thing way more often. Huh, look at that. 3 pings only, that's all we lost on it switching back. That's very fast. The gold standard for availability in IT is usually 5 nines, or 99.999% availability. That means throughout the entire year, your system has an allowed downtime of just over 5 minutes. Everything like this. Over the entire year. Not per day, not per week, the entire year. So if we have only a downtime of a few seconds on our router, we could do that tens of times. That's great. We just have to hope that nothing else breaks. Okay, so I tried yanking the power and restarting it about 5 or 6 more times and got the exact same result. 6 to 7 seconds for it to fail over from the primary router to the backup when I unplug it, and then for it to recover once I plugged it back in is about 3 seconds only. So I guess all that's left to do today is to clean up all of the cabling, which I really don't want to do. Fine, I'll fix the Ethernet, fine. You guys, I know, I get it. I'll finish it. I kind of cheated, but we're done. Done, yeah. I think I need to re-pull the cables that run from my garage, where the actual patch panel for the house is, back into this room, because they're all like 2 feet too short, which is brutal, but like, I don't want to terminate all those cables and then just have to replace them. So I'm not gonna do that. That's stupid. For now, I put a bunch of placeholder things in. We've got all these beautiful 6-inch patch cables, and man, this is starting to look like a real freaking home lab, man. Look at how cool that is. Now, I still got a bit more cleaning up to do down here. This UPS is gonna go under my NAS, where just a normal like desktop one is like scrunched in there. You see that back there? Yeah. Not great. Now, it doesn't look like I'm getting my business internet connection in this video. I don't even know if I'm gonna have it by the end of next week based on the timeline they've given me so far. I guess we're just gonna have to save that for next episode. I need to do other things, like figure out what the next step of the home data center is. So if you like this video and you want to support this idea that ultimately I think is going to turn into something really cool, the idea of providing like free rack space to really cool open source projects and nonprofits, I can't even imagine. That sounds so cool. It's going to be some work to keep it upkept and functional, but I think we can do it. And just the process of getting there is gonna be a ton of fun on its own right. So make sure you're here for the rest of the journey. Hit the like button and comment down below. What do you think I should do next? What's the next most important stage of this? I think it's probably gonna be figuring out a little bit better power situation, because right now everything in here is running through one UPS, and they don't even have like a mains power and a UPS, nor do I have anything more than like a 120 volt 15 amp power source, which is not great.